Welcome back to A Guiding Light 911. This is the channel where we dive deep into recovery, growth, and the tools that help us live with more peace, purpose, and clarity. If you're looking for guidance on your journey, you're in the right place. Today, we're taking a closer look at one of the most important, yet often misunderstood ideas in recovery: the concept of a power greater than yourself. For some, just hearing that phrase brings up walls, images of religion, rigid beliefs, or dogma that don't fit their own experience. But here, we're not talking about rules or forced beliefs. We're exploring how this idea can be used as a tool, something that opens the way to healing, freedom, and sustainable growth. We'll look at how leaning on a power greater than yourself, whether that means faith, community, nature, or simply the power of hope, can free you from isolation, help you grow from where you are, and invite you into deeper understanding. So if you've ever wrestled with what this concept really means, or wondered how it can help you without being tied down by dogma, stay tuned. This is a conversation about freedom, humility, and finding strength beyond yourself. So let's get into it.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're tackling a phrase that comes up a lot in recovery, in personal growth circles, and honestly, it can really rub people the wrong way. That phrase is a power greater than yourself.
Yeah, it's definitely loaded.
Totally. And I get it, for so many people listening, hearing that instantly puts up a wall. Maybe it brings up like organized religion, strict rules, or just ideas that feel completely alien to a rational mind.
Right, things that just don't align with their own experience or worldview.
Exactly. So our mission today, let's be clear, is to push past all that baggage. We're going to look at this idea, drawing from the material and opening the way to healing, not as dogma, but purely as a tool, a mechanism for growth, for tackling really tough problems, whether that's internal struggles or big complex challenges out in the world.
And the promise, really, when you strip away the assumptions, is that this concept can unlock, freedom, hope, real sustainable growth.
Okay, so let's start there. You mentioned hope and freedom. The core insight right off the bat seems to be this acknowledgement
That you don't have to face everything alone, that fundamental point. When you're feeling overwhelmed, just hearing that, really hearing it, can be a huge weight lifter.
It really can. So, okay, let's dig in. We're often taught, especially, driven, analytical people, that it's all about willpower, grit, relying on our own smarts.
That pull yourself up by your bootstraps idea.
Right. But when we're facing something really profound, addiction, trauma, maybe even a huge project failure, why isn't just trying harder with our own brain power enough? Why does that approach often fall short?
Well, it often comes down to perspective and, frankly, just sheer exhaustion. The source material is pretty clear on this. Relying only on ourselves has real limits.
Limits? How so?
If we're the only architect, the only one drawing the plans for our own healing or decisions, we're always looking through our own, let's face it, flawed lens. Our own biases, our past experiences, they color everything.
So the source material suggests that left to our own devices, just using that same thinking that maybe got us into the struggle, we end up just repeating things.
Yeah, repeating cycles of pain or struggle or disappointment. It's like being stuck in a loop. Think about it psychologically. Why does our own reasoning sometimes fail us so spectacularly?
Is it like tunnel vision?
Tunnel vision, absolutely.
Yeah.
But amplified by mental fatigue. Imagine trying to solve a complex puzzle when you're completely drained. You keep trying the same wrong moves.
Okay, that makes sense. Like analysis paralysis almost.
Exactly. The burden of needing to have all the answers, of maintaining total control, it's exhausting. And you get trapped by confirmation bias too, right? Your own mind keeps finding evidence for the story you're already telling yourself.
So that belief that I have to be the one with all the answers, that actually limits us. It becomes a ceiling.
It really does. And this is where the shift happens. Recognizing a power greater than ourselves, whatever that might mean for you, isn't about giving up. It's about accepting there's a bigger picture.
Okay, so it opens the door to relief. Not because you stop trying, but because you don't have to be the sole architect anymore.
Precisely. You get permission, almost, to let go of that need for total control, to, delegate some of that cognitive load.
So this isn't laziness, it's actually strategic. It's easing the mental burden so you can actually function better. It lets you say, okay, I'm part of this, but I don't have to invent the entire solution myself.
That's the pivot. You move from trying to force everything alone to collaborating with, well, something larger.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so appealing when you're feeling overwhelmed. You realize you don't need to be perfect to start making progress.
That relief is huge. But okay, we've said we're dishing the dogma, so the listener's still wondering, practically speaking, what is this power then? If it's not necessarily God in a traditional sense.
And that is the crucial point the Source hammers home again and again. This power. It doesn't need a neat label. Defining it precisely isn't the point at all.
So the exercise isn't about finding the right definition.
Not at all. It's about willingness. A willingness to believe, or even just consider, that there's something bigger at play than your own individual struggle, your own ego.
And the Source gives quite a few examples, right? To show how broad this can be. It's quite liberating, actually.
It really is. They lay out a whole spectrum. For some people, yes, it absolutely is God, a spiritual connection. That works for them.
But for others,
it could be something much more sort of down to earth, like the collective wisdom you find in a support group, a fellowship, even a really functional team at work.
okay, so the shared experience, the group itself, becomes the power.
Exactly. The humility that comes from admitting you need the group, the insights you gain from others. That is the power greater than yourself in that context.
The Source also mentions things like nature. How does, say, looking at a mountain help me solve a complex work problem?
Well, it's about the perspective shift it offers.
Yeah.
For some, that power is the sheer scale, the indifference almost of the natural world, the cycles of seasons, the laws of physics, things that operate entirely outside human control.
So it instills humility, a sense that maybe my urgent problem isn't the center of the universe.
Precisely. Humility, patience, realizing not everything bends to our will. That perspective can be incredibly grounding when your own willpower has just led to frustration.
Or it could be even more personal, like the Source says. The unconditional love of family. A partner. That deep human connection as a source of strength outside of just me.
Yes, a reservoir of support, of strength that isn't dependent on your own performance or ego. The core idea, really, no matter the example,
It's not the definition.
it's a posture, the internal stance. Are you open? Are you willing to look outside your own head, your own struggles, for answers, for support, for perspective? It's a shift from being totally self-focused to recognizing you're part of a larger system.
Okay, system connection. I like that. But even if it's nature or community, I can still hear listeners thinking, okay, but doesn't this still feel like I'm being asked to just believe in something? Isn't that a kind of dogma in itself? Where's the freedom in that?
That's a fair question, and the text tackles it head on. It argues this is actually the inverse of dogma. It's explicitly described as freedom from dogma.
How does it achieve that freedom when it's asking for belief?
Because it doesn't hand you a belief system and say, here, accept this. Instead, it starts with you. It starts with an internal admission, a statement of, well, honesty,
Which is?
basically.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have all the answers. Clearly, my best solo efforts haven't cracked this nut, so I'm willing to be open. Open to learning, open to guidance, whatever that looks like for me.
So the process starts with acknowledging limitations, not with accepting external rules.
Exactly. And you get to define or at least explore what that guidance or power might look like for you. It's self-correcting because it's rooted in your own experience and willingness.
So that little admission, I don't have all the answers, that's the key. That creates the space.
That's the crack where the light gets in, so to speak. By letting go of the need to be right or to have it all figured out, you simultaneously lessen the burden of guilt about the past and that paralyzing fear of messing up the future.
Okay, and the Source links this to specific qualities, right? Practical things.
Yes, it does. It talks about the mechanism for healing involving 3 core qualities: trust, humility, and surrender. And these aren't just, nice ideas, they're active stances.
Let's break those down. Humility seems clear, admitting limitations, but trust and surrender. If I surrender control, doesn't that mean just giving up? How is that different from apathy?
Great distinction. Apathy is passive. It's, I don't care anymore. Surrender, in this context, is an active choice. It's saying, I will do my part, but I release the need to control the final outcome.
Okay, and trust.
Trust is the bridge. Humility says, I don't know everything. Trust says, I will act anyway, relying on this larger perspective or support system I'm opening myself up to, even without guarantees. It's choosing to engage based on hope rather than certainty.
So surrender is letting go of the result, not the effort. Trust is acting despite uncertainty. Humility is knowing why you need to do that.
You've got it. It's about cultivating an internal attitude of active reliance, which frees you up to operate without that crushing weight of needing everything to be perfect before you even start.
And that leads nicely into the idea that this isn't some exclusive club. This approach is accessible.
Absolutely. That's maybe the most beautiful part. It meets you right where you are, right now. You don't need to have achieved some kind of perfect faith or enlightenment first.
So the only real entry requirement is just being willing to say, maybe I can't do this entirely on my own. Maybe something else could help.
Just that crack of willingness, that simple admission fundamentally shifts your focus. When you stop trying to frantically micromanage every single detail, which is, let's face it, a huge source of stress for many high achievers.
Clarity follows.
Clarity, yes, and humility. You stop being obsessed with the huge, overwhelming final goal.
Which means you're less likely to be paralyzed by past failures or terrified of future ones.
Exactly. The practical result the source points to is the ability to just take, well, one step at a time. It breaks down the impossible into the manageable. The focus shifts from freaking out about the whole mountain to just navigating the next few feet of the path.
That's incredibly practical. If you're facing a massive project, say, you stop agonizing about the final delivery and just focus on the next email, the next task, trusting the process or the team.
Trusting that larger structure, whatever it is for you, will support the overall effort. And crucially, this isn't described as like closing your eyes and wishing.
Not blind faith.
No, the source calls it building a relationship with hope. You actually start to notice support more. You see it in people who show up, unexpected opportunities, even those little moments of inner strength that seem to surface once you start fighting so hard.
So it's like you stop swimming against the current and start noticing how the current can actually help carry you.
That's a great way to put it. The necessary strength often emerges only after we let go of the illusion of total control.
Okay, so stepping back, looking at the big picture here, how does this whole framework change our understanding of healing or growth or even just tackling big problems?
Well, what's really fascinating is how it shifts the entire dynamic. Transformation stops being about force, about gritting your teeth and exerting rigid control. Instead, it becomes an act of opening.
Opening?
Yeah, opening yourself to allow guidance, strength, wisdom, whatever you need to flow in from somewhere beyond your own limited self.
That really pulls it together. So the path isn't about adopting someone else's rules or beliefs. It's about finding freedom through acceptance, practicing that humility and finding the courage to grow right from where you are by tapping into something bigger than your own ego.
And the underlying message, the reassurance offered in the source material for everyone listening, is powerful. Wherever you are on your path, whatever you're facing, you don't have to do it in isolation. You are not alone. Keep looking, keep opening up, keep moving.
So as we wrap up, here's something to think about. Your next challenge, that next situation that feels overwhelming, whether it's at work or in your personal life, ask yourself, what specific part of the situation could benefit most if I just let go? If I stopped trying to control every single variable and outcome?
And if you were to actively choose to be open, just open, what might that non-dogmatic power look like for you? What resource, what community, what principle, what quiet source of strength could become your personal guiding light? What awaits if you just open the door?
Thank you for spending this time with me today. If this message spoke to you, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who might need encouragement right now. Remember, you don't have to walk this path alone. For more resources to support your recovery journey, visit agl911.com. As part of my mission to help others, I've created a collection of recovery ebooks, workbooks, and journals available at amazon.com, author AGL911. Stay connected, stay hopeful, and as always, keep moving forward one day at a time. I'll see you in the next one.
A Guiding Light, 12-Step Recovery for Lasting Change.